Good evening, everyone. Bonsoir tout le monde. As you know, it's always a pleasure for me to be with you as every Sunday in our conversation, the most positive one for the week. Today's episode will be a free business masterclass. And you see, it's in English because my guest doesn't speak Creole or French. So get ready. If you are an entrepreneur or want to become one, if you feel stuck in your journey, this episode is for you. The only one thing I will be asking you to do to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it yet, and also to share the link with all your contacts right now. Today, I am excited. I have the honor of introducing someone who means so much for me, both personally and professionally. He is not just my business coach and mentor, he is a true powerhouse. He is transforming people's life here in the US and also Canada, in Canada. He is a Millionaire Club member of the LegalShield business. He is a highly respected business and leadership coach here in California. He is a devoted father above of all. He is a man of God, a man of integrity. He is my mentor. Together tonight, we will be helping you learn how you can move from being stuck, if you feel stuck, if you are feeling stuck, to create powerful, successful business to even earn 6 or 7 figures. Are you ready? I know you are ready. So help me welcome very warmly Coach Ford Bell in the house. Great afternoon, great evening, Coach Bell.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you very well. It's a pleasure for me to introduce you to my people.
Well, it is my honor to be here. I feel like I'm here with the Haitian Oprah right now, and it's just an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Together we will help whoever who is watching us to move from being stuck to even creating a 6 or even 7 figures business. But before we jump in that topic, which is very interesting and important, can you tell a little bit more about yourself? If I miss something, do you want to add anything else?
Sure. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very humbled to even be featured here because although people today may know me as a leadership and business coach and a best-selling author of the book Born to Rule and the founder of BornCEO.com, a lot of people don't know where I started. And for me, I remember being a teenager and looking around, and I wanted to be free. I wanted to have the freedom that I saw. I remember looking at infomercials on television about financial freedom and how many people were enjoying their lives and hearing about how much abundance there is in this world. And as a believer, a follower in Christ, I've always known that he said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And I remember wondering, looking around, if we have access to so much abundance in this world, and there's no lack, there's no limitations, we're not under the curse anymore. How is it that some people in the midst of all this abundance find themselves stuck financially like I did? And other people have found a way to break through to not only making a great income, but making a great impact. And some have figured out how to break free to 6 figures and 7 figures per year, per month, even per week. And so I remember always wondering, how is that even possible? What have they figured out that we haven't figured out yet? And so I just kind of started seeking the answers. I was praying, I was searching. And I'll never forget, I picked up some resources along the way, and I realized that the information was available. I just wasn't plugging into that information. I realized there were mentors out there who had already figured it out and they were willing to teach. I just didn't have access to those mentors. And so I just started looking for the wisdom, looking for mentors, and thankfully I found it, and everything started to change from there.
Wow, that's powerful, Coach Bell. You mentioned freedom, you mentioned abundance. You said that you were always wondering how you can have an abundant life. You were only a teenager, right?
I
Did
was.
I hear? Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Wow, wow. So can you share with us what was the turning point where you realized that abundance, that success were possible for you as a teenager?
Absolutely. Well, the turning point was when I started to get access to mentors. And I'm so grateful to have a mom who always demonstrated that no matter what your obstacles are in life, if you put your mind to something, you can make it happen. And I was very blessed to have a stepdad who took me under his wings. And one of the things he said is, don't make the same mistakes that I made. He said, if you
Wow.
don't learn how to work smart for yourself and your family, you'll spend the rest of your life working hard for someone else and their family. And that really stuck with me. And so I remember trying to figure it out. But one thing I picked up from my dad is he was always reading, he was always listening and studying. And at first, I wasn't interested at 14 years old. That wasn't what I was looking for. But one day I came home and he was listening to an audiobook by a guy named Napoleon Hill, most famous for the book Think and Grow Rich. And I'll never
Mm,
forget, I heard Napoleon Hill say, after studying the 500 most successful people in the world, the number one thing they had in common is that they found their definite major purpose in life and they dedicated their lives to that one single purpose. And so I was already seeking my purpose. I'll share another time where, by the time I was 6 years old, I didn't want to be alive. But then I had a major epiphany, a breakthrough, and a divine encounter that let me know, no, I was put here on this planet to do something significant. And so was everybody else. We've got a gift to serve, we've got a purpose to fulfill, and we've got greatness inside of us. But most of us never get into the right environment or the right mentors to have that nurtured. And so I was already seeking my purpose, but that was my discovery of personal development. I found out that the information I needed was there. And so the second thing that I heard from Napoleon Hill was that successful people, they budget their time, not just their money, they budget their time. And I never heard that before. And he said, those who are wealthy have the same 24 hours as those who aren't. But the difference is what they do with that same amount of time. And it made me think, well, what am I doing with my time that's keeping me in bondage versus what they're doing with their time that's setting them free? And that's when I discovered the concept of passive residual income. And many have heard of that now, when you put something in place that generates income when you're not working. Many people have read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad or Cash Flow Quadrant. And I remember getting that type of information. And I wrote my first goal at the age of 14 years old. And that was to find a way to create enough passive residual income to be able to retire from corporate America by 25 years old. So my time would be free to pursue and fulfill my purpose in life. So goal setting was a big part of that breakthrough for me, writing down that goal and then figuring out what's the plan in order to make that happen.
wow, Coach Bell, maybe the people who are listening now may ask, is he joking? Is he kidding? You said 14, 4 years old, right? You had that
Yes.
breakthrough and you heard about the book Think and Go Rich at that time. You were a teenager. And how did you digest all of those information? Can you tell me what was the mindset? What mindset was essential for you at that time to understand time budgeting, passive and residual income?
Well, the mindset was I wanted freedom, and my dad was very brilliant. He said to me when I was 14 years old, he said, "Look, you got to figure out what you're going to do with your life because when you're 18, you're going to be on your own." And you got two options. You can find great mentors. You can read the books. You can study. Or if you want to be homeless, you can be homeless. He presented both options. He even
Wow.
took me and my brother out to be homeless one night to see what it was like. And he said,
Yeah.
you got that choice. If you don't want to read, if you don't want to learn from successful people, you can make the same mistakes that I made or many people make, or you can choose to get the information and not make excuses, and you can change your life around. And so it empowered me and it inspired me. So I felt like I only had a short period of time to figure out what I was going to do with my life. So I didn't end up homeless. And so the burning desire was there to be successful. I was even coachable. I was willing to learn. When I realized that there were mentors willing to teach me and the books were there, I said, I'll read as many books as I have to read in order to figure it out. And then I found out about seminars, and I started to attend seminars at the age of 16 years old. And I went to the ones that were free because I could afford them. And that was kind of the journey. And so I studied real estate investing. I studied all kinds of business models, but I knew that I needed to find the right vehicle for time and financial freedom and the right mentors who had already done it successfully, and not listen to the negative people who were fearful or afraid, but always willing to give their opinions. So one major thing I learned from Napoleon Hill is that most people fail because they listen to the opinions of their friends, families, and neighbors. And
Yeah.
I realized that those were the wrong voices. And so I decided early on, I'm never going to take advice from anybody unless they have the solution to my problem. And that changed everything for me.
Wow, wow, that's game changing. You mentioned books, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. You mentioned Poor Dad, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You mentioned mentors. You mentioned seminar. All of this at 16 years old. Wow, your story is so powerful and it is one of a kind story, Coach Bell. But did you go to college? Tell me about the transition, or did you go straight to entrepreneurship after your high school?
Yes, my goal was to go straight into entrepreneurship first and then make enough money to pay for school so I didn't end up in debt. But the
Mm.
family wanted me to go to college right away. And so I did that. And it was an amazing experience. I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C., and it was amazing there. I got to meet people I never would have met. I got
This is
exposure to,
was right. Howard
what did you say?
University. Howard University is where Kamala Harris went. Yeah.
Mhm.
They- okay. In Washington
So,
D.C.
yep, Washington, D.C. And
Right.
it was an amazing journey. I met people from all over the world. I got great exposure. But I also learned something. I studied business. I majored in business and I minored in music, which is my background in the performing arts. But one thing I
Oh.
learned is that there are different types of education for different goals. So I
Mm-hmm.
found out that if I wanted to become a doctor or a lawyer or one of the professions that required a college degree, that's where my college education was going to be most valuable, along with some of the life skills learned as well. But I found
Mm-hmm.
out you can have a great college or academic education, but still not have any financial education. Just because I might be book smart, I graduated at the top of my class from high school, I was in the honors program. So I was book smart, but that had nothing to do with financial smarts. And
Yeah.
so I realized I need to, yes.
They
So,
don't teach.
yeah, so I found myself in school studying academics, but at the same time reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and one of my favorite books, Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. You can see it's well used, right? This book, yes, this is the second book that he wrote. That's one of
Cash
the
flow.
most important books about that's what taught me about financial freedom. So I realized that I wanted to be in business. I didn't want to become a doctor or a lawyer. I wanted to become a successful entrepreneur. I wanted to learn how to create time freedom and financial freedom. So I
Mm.
needed the right type of professors to match the opportunity I wanted. So for academic education, I needed college professors. But for entrepreneur success, I needed entrepreneur mentors as my
Yes.
professors. And that's what took me down the path of seminars. But even still, when I went to the seminars, I went to a free seminar that I could afford. And at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the seminar, they said, hey, if you really want to learn how to implement all these things, if you give us $2,000, we'll teach you. And I thought, man, it costs more to go to college. If I figure out how to make it $2,000, I'm going to go. So I started selling snacks and candy at school to make
Oh,
money in order to pay for the seminars. And then I went to the seminar and they said, hey, if you give us another $5,000, we'll teach you really how to implement these strategies. And
mm.
so I realized that there was the business model was amazing. I learned a lot of things, but even though I was getting the information and the inspiration, I still struggled with implementation. I needed more than information. I needed a coach to help me implement. And I needed a very simple ABC 1, 2, 3 process to follow that would allow me as a teenager to implement those principles and understand it enough to build a successful business. And that's what I was looking for.
Wow, you knew what you wanted for your life and you went for it. And you mentioned some books, and I was not wrong when I said today's episode will be a master class. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, Coach Bell. You said also that you got retired at the age of 24 or 25 years old from
Well,
corporate
my
America. Is that correct?
Well, my goal was to be able to retire from corporate America at 25 years old. But
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, I found a different vehicle that was faster and the right mentors. And I was able to accomplish that 3 years earlier and retire from corporate America at the age of 22 years old.
Wow, can you tell me more about it? Tell us more
Yeah.
about it. What was
And
this
that, and
opportunity that allow you to get retired 2 years before you're 25 years old?
Sure, sure. And it was a unique opportunity. A good friend of mine reached out to me and said, hey, I want to get your feedback on something. And she knew I always told every one of my friends, find a way to create residual income, passive residual income. And so she thought about me when she saw this opportunity, and she shared a resource with me called LegalShield today. And I looked at the concept, I'd never heard of it before. And immediately I realized this is something that everybody should have and everybody's going to have one day, just like medical coverage, automobile coverage, life insurance coverage. It's going to be big. And so I became a customer for myself and my family. The resources were amazing. But when I saw the business model, it blew my mind. I came out to an event and I saw that there were so many people, everyday background, who are already earning 6 figures and 7 figures from home. And I didn't know how that was possible. And so, just like I told you earlier, I believe in taking advice from people who are successful and having my solution. So I didn't listen to any of my friends who said, oh, that sounds like a scam or that doesn't sound legitimate. I said, well, let me see for myself. I already knew the product was great because I was a customer. But when I saw the business model and the mentors available, I realized this is the best entrepreneurial training environment that I'd ever seen before. And I saw millionaires that were willing to teach regular people like me exactly how they did it. And they weren't charging $2,000 or $5,000. They said, hey, if you're hungry to learn, we're willing to teach you. And so it was the first time I was surrounded by genuine mentors, people of integrity that weren't just trying to make money from me spending thousands of dollars. They genuinely wanted to help me. And I found out this environment, they get paid to help you grow. So I went, this is a win-win scenario. So I started bringing my friends to the environment that I couldn't get to invest $2,000 for a real estate seminar. And that business took off far faster than my real estate plans did. And that's what allowed me to create enough passive residual income part-time by the age of 22 to walk away from my 9 to 5 job and never went back. It's been over 20 plus years now. And then from that, it freed up my time to get involved with youth ministry and mentoring and my passion in life. And now I get to teach people how to turn 15 hours a week into a 6-figure passive residual income.
Wow. You know, once you mention LegalShield, I cannot help myself to be emotional, to be passionate. And I will be very transparent with anyone who is watching now. This is that opportunity that Coach Bell 1 year before offered to me. Thanks to your friend, you changed your life, you changed my life, and together we are changing anyone else's life. You mentioned that this opportunity blew your mind. It was the same for me as well. And you said, you mentioned the product, you judge the product, the system, and the environment. Do you think that in today's economy where there are so many scams out there, how people can judge, can balance, can access? Because there are a lot of opportunity, good opportunity, and not good opportunity out there. What's advice to someone in face of some opportunity, how to react, how to judge and make the good choice?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen so many things over the years. And number one, it's good to do your own research. Do your own research. And for me, the biggest research was on the product itself, the service. And one question that you want to ask, especially as a person of integrity, is this a product or a service that I would want to have even if there was no business opportunity attached to it? Is this a product or service I would want my loved ones to have even if there was no financial gain? And if the answer is
Mhm.
no, then the only reason why you're doing it is for the money, not because of the mission. And so
Yes.
that was the first thing for me. When I saw the services, before I even understood the business opportunity, I wanted the services. I saw people in my community who were being questioned, detained, arrested by law enforcement. I saw harassment taking place. I saw people getting ripped off by companies. I have personal experiences in my family with different life events, landlord tenant issues, job related questions, family law matters, people passing away without the estate planning in place, the will, the living will, the healthcare power of attorney. So when I saw all the everyday life events that Legal Shield helps people with, it was something I immediately wanted for myself, and I immediately wanted for my family, even when I was not planning on doing this as a business. And I told my friend, this is a good business for you, but I'm busy focused on my real estate plan that I've been working for 5 years since I was 14 years old. Now I was 19 years old, about to turn 20. And she said, well, you're going to refer people to me. Maybe we should form a strategic partnership. And I said, I'm too busy. I'm too focused. And she said, well,
Like,
weren't you going to? Yeah. And she said, well, if you're going to do this for free, would you be upset if you got paid for doing what you were going to do for free? And I said, well, when you put it that way, of course not. So that's how I came into the business. But that's one of the first things, is to make sure that the product or service is something that you would want to have and that you actually believe in, and use it yourself. Nobody could tell me their opinions because I used it myself. So I didn't have to rely on someone else's testimonial or someone else's experience. The first time I was able to pick up the phone and speak to a top-notch attorney and not receive a bill in the mail, I'm like, this is amazing. Everybody needs to know about this. So that's one of the criteria. There's a couple others as well.
yes, thank you, Coach Bell. I took note. You mentioned the mission. If the mission resonate with you, the services and products, and you break down some of the services that your company offered, helping people protect themselves, their family, and their businesses. You mentioned also the system. This is how someone can see if an opportunity is good or not. Now, I understand, like you, it was the same situation, the same breakthrough for me. I was so busy doing my life, trying to scale my business. At that time, who is more running me than me running the business? I had my full time 9 to 5 job at that time. I told you when you exposed me to this opportunity, I said that I was so busy, I couldn't do it. But I saw that the services, this is some services that anyone needs, and mostly my immigrant community. As you, I see this is something that I can share without even get paid. But I was greatly surprised when I know the business opportunity behind that. So can you a little share a little bit about the business opportunity behind just sharing legal coverages to people?
Yes. Yeah. So every company needs to find a way to advertise, right? And so, companies spend millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars per year advertising in various ways. Some do it the traditional way by advertising on television or radio. And a lot of companies have spent a lot of money with that model. Many have become successful, but a lot of companies has gone out of business over the years. Some of the smartest and most stable companies today are using word of mouth advertising. And all of us know word of mouth is more powerful than traditional advertising. When you hear about something from a friend, a family member that you know, like, and trust, you're more receptive to it than just seeing a commercial. People are tired of the hype and the commercials. They want somebody real. So what I
Yeah.
love the most about the opportunity is back then I was not a public speaker like I am now. I was 19 years old. I was shy, excuse me, and introverted. What I love though is that I didn't have to be a salesperson. Just like when I had snacks and candy for sale at school, I never really sold it. I just walked around with my candy until people asked me for it because I was too shy to actually sell it. But when it came to this, I realized all my friend did was show me a video because the company spent millions of dollars producing quality videos and commercials. So we can literally just send somebody a video that explains the program. And then when they have questions, we can connect them with somebody who can answer their questions. So it's a very simple model. Instead of them spending $100 million a year advertising on television, they pay happy customers like you and I who get registered as an independent associate, just like a real estate agent or an insurance agent. We're like legal services agent called associates, but we get paid that $100 million per year or whatever's in that budget to spread the word instead of traditional advertising. And one of the reasons why it's so powerful is because most people have never heard of it. And those who have
Yeah.
heard of it have never actually seen a presentation unless they know somebody who shares it with them or their company offers it as an employee benefit.
Wow, that's wonderful. So this is a real opportunity with real people, real success stories, and it's true, it's just real. So, Coach Bell, now you are a leader in LegalShield, and you have been in that business for maybe more than 20 years. I don't know your age. I would say your age, but you say that you start since you're 22 years old.
Yeah,
So
I
have
actually
you,
start. Mhm.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yes, have you faced any obstacle during the journey? What do you do to overcome them?
Yes, so many obstacles. The first
Mhm.
obstacle was not listening to the opinions of people who didn't believe, because so many people, they are afraid. And when they've tried something before that didn't work for them, or they were too afraid to try something, sometimes they think they're protecting us by saying, no, don't do that. They'll even make up stories sometimes to scare us, thinking that they're helping us. So that was the first obstacle to overcome. And thankfully, I was listening to the right mentors like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, that taught me and warned me about not listening to negative people. The second thing was I was concerned about sales. I wasn't good at sales. I was good at advertising, but I didn't want to be a salesperson. And so it was great because I didn't have to. Again, I was able to just use the tools that they produce and realize, wait a minute, my job is not to be a salesperson or convince people. Millions of people are buying this already. All I have to do is show people, schedule an appointment, let them see it for themselves, and then connect them with somebody. And we're not looking for everybody. We're looking for the right people who see the value. The
I
third
like that.
challenge that, yeah, the third challenge I had to overcome was, what if I run out of people? You know, what if I don't know that many people? I've been an introvert my whole life. I was shy most of my life. What if I run out of people? And then they taught me, wait a minute, first of all, there's over 400 million people in the United States. There's over 30 million people in Canada. I'm not going to ever run out of people. I just need to know how to approach people and how to attract the right people who are looking for the solutions. And the great thing is there was a built-in training program to teach me everything I needed to know in order to be successful. So they taught me how to never run out of people. They taught me how to find people online, offline. Now that we have that technology, when I first started back in 1999, early 2000, I was just turning 20 years old. And so we didn't have all this amazing technology that we do today. But
Mm.
once they showed me how to create a network of never ending referrals, I've never run out of people. We've been able to serve well over 50,000 families and business owners all across the United States and Canada from that simple system that's been put in place. So the biggest answer to your question is, I realized every obstacle or challenge that I faced, there was a mentor there that had a solution to any obstacle. As long as I was willing to reach out and say, hey, what do I do in this scenario? What do I do in that scenario? And I didn't let my ego get in the way. I'm willing to listen to somebody who's already come before me and already had success. So I don't have to spend the same amount of years learning the same thing they've already figured out.
Wow, I told you it will be a free master class, not only in a certain type of business, but in business in general. Coach Bell mentioned that he was he get free from others people judgments. Before he was afraid to sell, but thanks God for this opportunity, he didn't have to sell anything, even if selling is not a bad thing. In this economy, if you don't have anything to sell, you will be sold. You will be sold. You can't come because there are two type of people: the consumer and the seller. If you don't sell anything, you are consumer, you are sold. And also you mentioned that in this business, you never there is no opportunity to go to run out of people, because you can do this business in the US and Canada. That's great. And you mentioned as well, to overcome that, so went out for you seek for mentor, which is good. And I always say that everyone needs mentors, every coach, everyone, even coaches needs coach. That's why I am a coach, and I have my coach with me, and he has his coach, he has his mentor. So if you are an entrepreneur, or if you want to succeed in life, you have to find out someone to help you. You don't have to do it by yourself. Coach Beltel, you're supposed to look for people who already did what you want to do, who is already where you want to go. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And Chebo, you get free from your ego. I have that question that just came in my mind. Ego. I know here in the US, Black American, ego can be a great obstacle for anyone's journey. Can we go deep on that to see what can make people give too much place of ego, and how ego can prevent someone to succeed? I think it's really, really important.
It is, and there's a healthy ego, and then there's an unhealthy ego. If we're going to use
Mm,
those terms, you know, My belief is that God made all of us a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. God never created
Mm,
anybody to be less than a 10. And I didn't know that when I was younger, which is why I didn't want to be alive by the time I was 6 years old, because I didn't have a proper image of myself. I didn't know I was created in the image of the creator of the universe. I didn't know
mm,
who I was born to be, the leader that was inside of me. I didn't know I had a gift to serve. I didn't know I had a purpose to fulfill. I didn't know I had greatness inside of me. And because I didn't
mm,
know, and I started listening to people, other kids that would tease me and make fun of my name, and I heard the teachers making fun of my name, I started to see myself as less than God created me to be. And I started to
mm,
perform at a smaller scale than God created me to be. And so when I discovered that I was put here for a purpose, and I discovered that there was greatness inside of me, I started to
mm.
develop a healthy self image. Now, some
Yeah.
people, if they don't have a healthy self image, the problem is number one, they may look down upon other people because they think they're better than others. And so that's a mistake, because just like God didn't make you less than a 10, he didn't make anybody else less than a 10. So
Wow.
if you ever think that someone is less than you, then you got to shift your perspective. And if you ever see yourself as less than a 10, you need to raise it back up to a 10 where God put it. Now, if you ever
Wow.
think that you're higher than a 10, you need to come back down, because the only
Mm,
10 is God himself. God is above a 10. So we're
yes.
10. 10 is enough. God is above a 10. So if you ever think you're higher than God, you need to come back down, or life will bring you down. And
Wow.
so that's my advice. But also, if to understand that if you realize you're a 10 and other people are as well, one thing that I've learned in my life is that I can learn something from anybody, no matter whether they're
Mm.
perceived to be behind me or ahead of me. I can learn something from everyone.
Yeah, and I can testify. I can testify. And if you just join this conversation, I am having Coach Ford Bell, successful leadership business coach here in California, powerhouse in LegalShield. Together, we are helping you moving from being stuck to create any six-figure business here in the US or in the US and Canada. And Coach Bell just said about ego. If you realize that you have greatness in you and everyone else has greatness, so you will never, never look down to people. You will consider everyone as special and you will be able to learn from anyone. That's so powerful. Thank you, Coach Bell. And I am taking note. So now let's be a little more general. You are a leadership coach. We know that leadership is often about influence. How do you inspire and motivate your team, especially during challenges time? Because we all recognize the leader in challenging times.
Absolutely. Well, for me, leadership starts with identity. Who
Mm,
was I born to be? Who am I? Leadership
mm,
is about purpose and vision. What was I born to do? What problem was I born to solve? Vision, where am I going? What is the future that I see for myself, for my family? How will the world be different as a result of my life? And so, with our bornceo.com, my coaching company, my mission is to inspire purpose driven people to become the leader that they were born to be. And so it starts with that. In my first book, Born to Rule, I teach the 7 steps to claiming your freedom and living your purpose. And it's about that born CEO identity. And so, who am I? You are the CEO, the born CEO of You Incorporated, Me Incorporated.
yeah.
And when you realize you have the most powerful entity on the planet, and that entity is not a C corporation, an S corporation, it's not an LLC, it's not a company, it's you. You are the born CEO of You Inc. And when you have a vision as that born CEO for your life, when you have a vision for your assignment, your gift, and you discover your gift and you serve that gift to the world, all the money you'll ever need will find you. All the resources you need will find you. And I just believe when we are in alignment with who we were truly born to be and what we were born to do, and we're pursuing that vision, that purpose, God will make sure that every resource that you need is available and provided for. All the people that you need will come to your beck and call. All the partners, the mentors, the resources, everything you'll ever need is hiding behind your gift and purpose. And so the first place I start when it comes to leadership is identity. Who are you? Who were you born to be? What were you born to do? What is your vision for yourself, your family, how the world will be different as a result of your life? And we have a whole curriculum to help develop leaders because most of us weren't taught that, right? We were taught to go to school, get the best grades we can get a good job, maybe become self-employed, and everything is going to be okay. And I did the exact same thing. I went to school, got the best grades I could get, got a good government job in Washington, D.C. with lots of potential. But when I looked ahead at everybody who had followed that path, I even became self-employed. But I realized I was never going to have the freedom to do what I was put on this earth to do. And I wasn't in an environment to become the leader I was born to be. So I had to look outside of traditional solutions, outside of traditional education, and get myself in the right environments around the right mentors and leaders that can help me not only have time and financial freedom, but become that leader that I was born to be. And that's what I do with our partners inside of LegalShield and outside of LegalShield, those that I coach and mentor. I help them discover that born CEO within them and release that greatness that's inside. Once you understand who you are, where you're going, and why you must go, and you refuse to settle for less, you become unstoppable. It doesn't matter what happens in the economy. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are because your circumstances have nothing to do with your vision. And when you're in
Wow.
partnership with the King of Kings, the King of the universe, you cannot fail because God cannot fail. So my advice when it comes to leadership is don't listen to anybody else telling you about who you are. You don't know who you are. Your parents don't know who you are. Nobody knows who you truly are except the one who created you. And as long as
Mm.
I was seeking my identity from my culture, from my society, from my neighborhood, from my parents, from my family, I was still confused. And it wasn't until I decided to seek my creator on who you created me to be. What did you create me to do? What gifts have you placed inside of me? What is your purpose for my life? That's when the leader inside of me awakened that I never even knew existed.
Wow, Coach Bell, I feel on fire. Thank you so much for sharing. So, the book Born to Rule, where people can go to buy that book.
You can go to bornceo.com and you can order the book there, a signed copy. I'll send you a personalized copy. And you can also see the resources available. We have free resources there at bornceo.com. We have coaching if you want to invest in yourself and coaching. All of that's right there at bornceo.com.
Wonderful. You know, I have that book, and I can say for the first time, I don't know if you remember, you give it to me after I reached, after one of these achievement I had. And I took that book with me when I was invited to speak in San Diego, California. And when I first opened that book, what I read, and I will be reading it now. Before you were born, there was an invisible crown customized, craft especially for you. I said, oh my God, before I was born, you remind me who I was. Because sometimes, for me as an immigrant who was trying to put my feet in the ground, it was easy to forget who I was, who I really am. And Coach Bell, I can say, well, as you said that you know that you have greatness in you have that gift to recognize others people potential. Today I will let you know. One of the first time you met me, I heard you saying, "Wow, she's amazing. She can be very successful." You didn't even know me. You knew a few things about my background, but you saw my potential even if I didn't ask to tell that. Drink some water and come back to tell us how you can see people's potential even if they don't say anything.
Well, it's a part of my purpose. Whatever your purpose is in life, God is going to give you gifts and abilities that help you fulfill that purpose. And I didn't always know that. But throughout my life, God has shown me. I grew up in the performing arts. I went to a high school called Duke Ellington School of the Arts, picked up the trumpet early on, and I was
Mm,
surrounded by gifted people. And God showed me in that process that He's given me a heart to see people in their gift. And some people
mm,
have gifts that are very visible and external, but some people have gifts that aren't easily seen. They may not be able to sing or dance or perform, but every single person on this planet that God has created has a gift inside. And sometimes it just takes the right person to recognize that gift. And so that's my purpose in life. My purpose is to help people discover who they were born to be, what they were born to do, and overcome all the obstacles that show up. So when somebody lacks clarity about who they are, I have the resources and the gifting to help pull that out. When somebody knows who they are, but they're struggling to have the confidence, I went through
mm,
that myself. God allowed me to go through that same experience so that I can help others transform out of that experience. If somebody says, "Oh, I know what my purpose is that God wants me to do, but how am I going to find the time or the money to do it?" Well, guess what? I had the same struggle, and God gave me opportunities and showed me opportunities because He knew that my assignment was to help people get free. So He allowed me not only to find the opportunity, but He allowed me to go through all the obstacles and struggles that the people coming behind me would also face. And then some people will say, "Well, I don't have the support that I need to pull it off." Yes, I have a vehicle. I have a good business already. Maybe it's LegalShield. Maybe it's a different vehicle. But for some reason, you're not fully maximizing the opportunity that you have because you feel like you don't have the support. Well, guess what? bornco.com, we provide that support to help you become who you were born to be, do what you were born to do, and live like you were born to live. And so,
wow.
yes, if I cannot take credit for the gift that I've been given because I didn't give it to myself, I can only
Mm,
take responsibility for honing the gift and utilizing it to serve the purpose that I was put here to serve.
yes, wow. That's powerful, Coach Bell. Oh, oh my goodness. Now, let's be very practical. We know that so many people here in the US are concerned about job securities, about paying their bills, about families' responsibilities. They can have that will to go for personal development and stuff, but they are concerned. So if whoever who is watching us right now is feeling stuck today, what's the first step you'd advise them to take?
Absolutely. One again, it's find the right vehicle and recognize what is not going to work. I had to learn what was not going to work before I realized what I needed that could work for me. And so when I was an employee working for someone else, it was great. I even enjoyed it. They enjoyed me. I got promotions. People, they wanted to keep me. They didn't want me to leave, but I was never going to become who I was meant to be as only an employee. I became self-employed and I was trading time for money still. And I realized, wait a minute, I thought being self-employed was the answer until I read Cash Flow Quadrant and found out E stands for employee, S stands for self-employed. Both of those are traps to stay stuck trading
Many.
time for money. And then I found
Mm.
out if I wanted freedom, I needed to learn how to become a business owner, which means I have three things: the right core systems in place, the right core team in place that can run that system with or without me, and the right leaders or managers in place that could run the whole thing with or without me. That's the only way to get time freedom and financial freedom for the majority of people. And so I had to find a vehicle to learn how to build a business without having to quit my daytime job and go cold turkey, and then use the cash flow from that business to become an investor. There's a video I have at bornceo.com/freedom that teaches the
Mm-hmm.
ABCs of financial freedom. But I would say find the right vehicle. I've seen people choose a vehicle and the industry that they chose was a good industry, but they found themselves competing with Amazon and major retailers online. And so it starts off well, they make a lot of money, but then the business is gone. I've seen people
Mm.
choose vehicles where things were well for a season, and then one law changes and wiped out the whole business. So it was a season, it was a fad or a trend, but it wasn't something that was long lasting where the business would still be there. I've seen people get involved with startup companies, and they may have had great opportunity or great hope, but most startups never make it off the ground. And so
Yeah.
if you're looking for a smart vehicle today, I was very fortunate. I didn't understand all this. I was very blessed. And I would say definitely pray. If you're a praying person, pray. But I'm grateful that I prayed because God led me to an opportunity with a company that was already established,
Mm.
with a product in an industry that's going to continue to be here long after me, long after my next generation, and allow enough time for generational wealth, something where I could start part time. I didn't have to quit my job right away and be stressed out. I could keep my daytime job and pay the bills, and part time carve out 10 to 15 hours a week and learn and grow and practice and build up something solid that can withstand stand the test of time. And this is why I'm still
Mm.
here 25 years later, but also a
Yeah.
vehicle that gives me access to the right mentors along the way, the right support, and the simple systems so I don't have to figure everything out on my own. And so if somebody's looking for the shortcut, if you will, without having to go through all those obstacles, we already have something in place here. And you proved it as well. Not only did you come in and you were coachable, you had the right attitude, you were willing to put in the work, even though you were super busy. I said, if you follow exactly the recipe that I give you, I promise you it'll work. And you said something that made me respect you very much, and I knew you cared about people. You said, I don't want to use my influence and my platform to be successful. I want to do it the exact same way somebody who doesn't have my platform or doesn't
Mm.
have my influence, show me that model. And so it was so powerful because you could have easily gone straight to the top within your first 30 days, but you went the step-by-step process to prove it.
Yeah.
And this is your first time going public about it right
Yeah.
now. And you
That,
went to
yeah.
5 to 10, and you went $5,000 to $10,000 a month following the
Oh, coach.
exact same system.
In my culture, we don't talk about our income.
Well, hey, uh, uh,
Okay, let's go.
uh, I believe in transparency, and it's just to be able to match most people need 5 to 10,000 a month in order to free their
Yeah.
time. And so it's I don't you know uh, and not everybody gets the same results. This is not something to say, oh, you sign up, you're gonna get rich quick overnight. No, this is not that. In fact, if you do nothing, you're gonna earn nothing. All right.
Yeah.
And so
Definitely.
the reason for me sharing that is so many people, when I ask them, what do you need to ease the stress? What do you need to be able to replace your income, to free your time, to become who you were born to be, to do what you want to do? Most people say $5 to $10,000 a month, some a little bit less, some a little bit more, but we already have a system in place to help people who want to do that. And so
Yeah.
I don't even remember what your question was, but hopefully that answered it.
Yeah, it was to give people who is feeling stuck now,
Oh,
what step to take right now
yes,
to from being stuck and to become successful in business as you as any other
yes.
people in our team.
So
Yeah.
my biggest advice would be to reach out to Coach Natasha and
Oh my
and
good.
and find out exactly what she did and what she's doing, because not only has she done it, she's already helping other people do it with every background and every walk of life. And so that's what I would say. What would you tell people to do next in order to get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. Anyone who is interested, they can comment interesting in the comment below, and I will send you a link. You will fill out the form, and one member of our team will reach out to you within the 24 hours. Thank you, Coach Bell, for give me that credit. Yes, I decided to follow the system. I didn't use my influence because I am a people person. I am very empathetic. I was thinking about the people I will be inviting. They don't have my influence. I didn't want to make them understand that they can't do it because they are not me. So I know as well, as a leader, as a coach, a good leader is supposed to be a good follower. I try the system, I test the system, it works. But let me share something with you. After my mom passed, I decided to go out loud to talk about that opportunity because I decided to not be selfish, to not keep it only for my little circle. It gave me that freedom. You know that it allowed me to be fully present for my mom when she was in her final days. So I don't take that for granted. Here in the US, people can't afford not working for 2 days. They can be sick. I know people who went to a surgery, they took some Tylenol to go to work. But I had that freedom to stay with my mom all day long. Even the nurses, they kept asking me, "Are you working?" I said, "Yeah, with my phone. I have my team. I am working now." And after my mom passed, you know that I took more than a month off from my 9 to 5 job. And when my boss asked me, "Are you sure you want more than 1 month, 2 months of vacation unpaid leave? What about the bills?" I was very confident to say, "Oh, don't worry, they are well taken care of." And after I experienced that, I decided whenever I am public now, I mention I have that opportunity that changed my life and I want to offer it to anyone. And publicly today, I want to thank you because you didn't discriminate me. You offer me that opportunity. I have my doubt. I pretend was too busy to do it because, like you, I was trying to scale my business, my coaching business, who was warning me a little bit because it's so difficult to establish system. And also, I can share that with you if I want to be vulnerable. As an immigrant, I was always worried when I saw my mom struggling with all of these situation. I understood it's because she worked too hard. You know, she jeopardized her health. And so many people is doing that without even knowing. I was very anxious about my retirement as an immigrant who was forced to leave my country in my mid 30s. I didn't see how I can give myself a decent retirement. But because of that opportunity you offer me only last year, now I am more confident about my future. I can have my big plan and I am confidently navigate the so-called American dream. Thank you so much. I am very grateful, very, very grateful to you. So, wow, Coach Bell, go ahead.
No, I'm grateful to work with people like you. You know, so many people say they want freedom. They say they want to be coachable and they want to learn, but then the opportunity is there and they don't take advantage of it. And you came in and you had all three qualities. You had the burning desire, you were willing to work, and you were coachable. Even though you're a coach and you've already been successful in other areas, you were still willing to follow. And now you're helping so many other people as well. So it's been an honor to work with you and all the lives that you're changing and so many more lives that you're about to change. I'm excited to be a part of that journey with you.
Thank you, thank you. It's a blessing for me to be coached by the best coach in that business. So we are about to close that wonderful conversation, Coach Bell. But let's go back. Looking back now, what advice will you give to your younger self when you were just getting started?
Mm. If I were to go back to my younger self, my advice would be don't play small. Don't play
Wow.
small.
Woo!
Go go all the way right away. Just step out on faith, trust God, and go all in. When you have the right system, the right environment, the right
Mm,
mentorship, fertile ground, what you're doing is built on integrity. Go
mm.
all in. Don't be afraid to
Yes.
go all out, massive action. And I could have done a whole lot more, a lot sooner, if I
Mm.
just went all in. And that would be my advice to someone else getting started. Just go all in,
One.
especially when you got a coach like Coach Natasha. You're partnered with the right people. Just go all in. Give it all you got. We give our jobs all we've got. We give so many
Mm.
things, all of our time, all of our interest, all of our effort, all of our energy for somebody else's dreams. Go as hard for your dream as and harder than we've been willing to go for other people's.
Wow. Don't play small. Don't settle for less. Go all in. Thank you, Coach Bell, for allowing us to dream big. And it was a such pleasure and honor for me. We are at the last part of this conversation. Now you have the mic to say whatever you want about the host. If you wanna question me, I am all in. You have less than 5 minutes to do so. Or if you want to just conclude this conversation, the mic is yours.
That was it. That was my main message. Like you got an amazing mentor here with Coach Natasha Dethine. And see, I love mentors that have gone through challenges, that have gone through the process. A true leader is willing to go first. So whatever concerns you have, whatever struggles you have, when that leader hears your journey and your struggles, they don't say, "I don't know what you're talking about," because they haven't been there before. But when you got a true leader like Coach Natasha Dessine, no matter
Or
what obstacle, hmm?
Coach Natasha or Coach Bell, it takes one to know one.
Oh, yes. But my point is, you all have the best of the best right here in front of you. Just trust your mentor, trust her integrity, and let's go. You've got a big purpose in life. You've got gifts to serve. You've got greatness inside of you. And
Wow.
me and Coach Natasha are here to help you serve those gifts you have to the world, discover that purpose and live that purpose, and tap into that untapped greatness that we know is inside of you. And there's so many other people that need to hear your story and your journey. So don't just do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for the next generation. But most importantly, do it for your creator. And you can't go wrong.
Wow. Thank you so much, Coach Bell. It's a pleasure to have you. Bye bye. Wow, I told you. Not only we learn a lot about business, about leadership, but I am sure that as I am, you were inspired. Oh my God, you have gift to serve, you have a purpose to fulfill, and most importantly, you have greatnesses. Your story. The world is waiting for your story, your success story. Don't do it just for yourself, but do it for your creator. Let me try to translate to summarize Haitian community without any notice. We went from Creole today to English, so you understand my invité m'nan li même li pat pale Creole. Donc, Coach Bell, c'est un successful, un coach qui fait succès ici, ton business et leadership coach Kanya. Li c'est un powerhouse sou yon moun ki a fait un pile succès dans LegalShield, qui c'est une opportunité que li te présenté avec moi-même, moins que un an de cela, et qui changeait un pile bagay dans la vie. Moi, pas tourner sou yo, moi dit ça déjà. Donc, je dis, me plaisir pour me inviter la veille. Not only it can help you if you want to do business with us, but he is a business coach. So if you are struggling, you want to create a business here in the US, you can reach out to him. You can reach out to me. Just put interested in the comment below. I will send you a link, so I will connect you with him. He can help you succeed in business, in leadership, and he is the founder of Born CEO. You can go on bornceo.com and get in touch with him. It was a pleasure today. Until next Sunday, stay positive. Bye bye.